What about biblically correct demons? You may have heard of biblically accurate angels. They will be well known to you from popular culture. However, the Bible's depiction of demons is unclear. Where exactly does Satan originate, for instance? Was that the person who came before him? The lines between good and evil are not as sharp as you may think in the world of fallen angels, malevolent spirits, and old gods. This is a list of biblical demons from A to Z. It is appropriate that I should clear the air first. In general, what exactly is a demon? A malevolent spirit or supernatural creature up to not good is called a demon. In one form or another, demons are mentioned in every major global religion. However, the demons we will be studying are found in the Bible, a holy book that is essential to Christianity and, to a lesser degree, Judaism and Islam. The Old Testament consists of ancient Jewish literature concerning Israel's history, and the New Testament is composed of early Christian writings about the life of Jesus. Since not every letter has a proper demonic equivalent, I occasionally will have to reinterpret the term biblical, referring to both the wider field of demonology that draws inspiration from these religious texts, as well as literature that was omitted from the Bible, known as the Apocrypha. But enough apologizing and spinning tales. It's time to study our ABCs, Asmodeus being the first letter. From the Book of Tobit comes Asmodeus. The bizarre account is found in certain versions of the Bible, but not in others. Asmodeus falls in love with Sarah in one story, but Sarah is already engaged. Asmodeus kills the groom out of jealous wrath, and does this exactly 7 times when Sarah remarries. Eventually, Asmodeus is cast out with a peculiar spell. A bed of flaming coals is used to place a fish's heart and liver. The devil escapes to the Egyptian deserts due to the offensive stench of the smoke it emits. After that, Sarah marries her 8th husband and has a happily ever after. B is for Belial. The demon life selected Belial, not the other way around. Throughout the Old Testament, the word Belial occurs, although it does not refer to a demon. Rather, the word is the Hebrew word for wickedness. People started reading this term as a name throughout time. The reason behind Belial's transformation into Belial remains unknown, but suddenly, a monster was created. The Dead Sea Scrolls, a collection of Jewish literature discovered in pots next to the Dead Sea, contain numerous references to this recently created demon. Belial leads a sizable army of evil in the aptly called War of the Sons of Light against the Sons of Darkness. It's authentic Lord of the Rings content. It's a shame the Bible never included it. This rendition of Belial provides the New Testament model for Satan. Belial has an interesting backstory, having evolved from a Hebrew term meaning wickedness to the demonic personification of wickedness itself. C is for Chemosh. A person's god may be another's devil. The main god of the Moabites, Chemosh, is mentioned in the Old Testament. Now, since the God of Israel is the only God and a fundamental tenet of the Bible, it is insufficient to include any other gods. A campaign of biblical slander struck Chemosh. His seeming hunger for human sacrifice, especially that of children, is his worst transgression. Chemosh is significantly less bloodthirsty outside of the Bible. He is seen on the 840 BC carved stone known as the Mesha Stele. King Mesha of Moab made it to commemorate Chemosh. God graciously granted them an advantage over their adversaries, especially Israel. This rock served as a token of gratitude. D is for Dagon. Another Old Testament pagan god is Dagon. He was the god of riches and prosperity and was mysteriously portrayed as a mermaid, perhaps alluding to buried fortune. This is because Dagon makes an appearance in an episode that centers on the Ark of the Covenant, a golden container thought to contain the 10 Commandments. The Ark is taken by the Philistines and set up at an altar to Dagon in the tale. The Ark, being the biblical superweapon that it is, demolishes the statue and brings about a catastrophic epidemic. Not long after, it was given back. E is for exorcism. To mix things up a bit, understanding how to exorcise demons is a crucial component of studying them. A large number of Jesus' miracles in the New Testament are exorcisms. In one of the stories, Jesus meets a guy who lives in a cave. He has more than one devil inside of him. Legion, because we are many, is their response when asked for their name. The demons convince Jesus not to destroy them because they know they are about to be violently removed from their host. Jesus graciously consents to put them in a herd of pigs that are nearby, and the pigs dash to their deaths from a nearby cliff. This tale introduces a peculiar custom to contemporary exorcism, calling the name of the demon. It seems that getting to know them personally helps drive them away. F is for fallen angel. One more important term to remember: a fallen angel is a good spirit that has been tainted. Although the Bible doesn't actually contain the concept of the fallen angel, apocryphal texts like the Book of Enoch frequently do. The Watchers, a group of angels who visit Earth one day, are the central theme of the story. When they begin to fall in love with human women, things start to change. These women go on to give birth to a terrifying race of giants known as the Nephilim. This wonderful tale seems to be too intense for the Bible. The story of the fallen angel had a significant impact on Christian authors and fiction, including Paradise Lost. It resulted in the creation of Lucifer, the rebellious angel on God's right side. G is for grimoire, an occult textbook filled with sinister incantations, magical spells, and of course, summoning demons is called a grimoire. The Lesser Key of Solomon, a thorough list of demons, is among the most well-known. It's a mainstay of modern demonology because it gives instructions on how to call on demons, such as Gar-ap, the patron demon of philosophy and a prince of hell. Get assistance from Gar-ap in order to understand the distinctions between Aristotle and Plato. While grimoires are not inherently biblical, many of the demons who inhabit them, such as the previously mentioned Belial, who is described as possessing a lovely voice, do originate from the Bible. H is for Hades. Though it is also mentioned in Christian mythology, Hades is most famously associated with Greek mythology. Hades is the underworld, a place of fire and brimstone, devils and sinners, as described in the New Testament. Our spirits are in Hades, letting off steam when they're not pestering human women or commanding armies of the dark. It is not at all like the underworld described in the Old Testament, which is a dark pit known as Sheol. Whether you are good or wicked, all souls go to that place. I am for Ipos. It's hard to find a biblical demon that starts with the letter I, but Ipos works for me. Ipos has an odd appearance. He possesses a lion's body, a goose's head, and a chicken's feet. He can be found in the demonic grimoire known as the Lesser Key of Solomon. Ipos possesses this really magnificent seal and is one of the 16 dukes of hell, according to his entry. Everything is known to him, past, present, and future. J is for Jezebel. J is another challenging letter for biblical demons, particularly since it isn't actually present in either the Greek or Hebrew languages that the Bible was written in. Jezebel is an Old Testament figure who was King Ahab's evil wife. Although Baal, the lord of the underworld, is a demon and appears in her name, she is not a demon. The Hebrew word Isabel, which means "where is Baal," is the source of the name Jezebel. It was formerly prayed during funerals to implore Baal to take possession of the departed souls. The reason Jezebel is evil in the biblical account could be explained by her demonic name. She is defenestrated or thrown out of a window for a number of sins, including worshipping Baal. Even though Jezebel isn't a demon, I'll jump at the chance to discuss Levantine death gods. K is for Kokabiel. One of our fallen angels from the Book of Enoch is Kokabiel. It is this angel that has corrupted people through the sinister practice of stargazing. Kokabiel instructs others in astronomy. That seems to be a negative thing. Perhaps this is due to the belief that the sky is the domain of God and should not be studied by science. Later on, Kokabiel makes an appearance in the Jewish spiritual books known as the Kabbalah. But he's a good man now. His heavenly body knowledge is considered valuable to impart. So, Kokabiel, which is it? The demon or the angel? L is for Lilith. Perhaps the earliest demon on this list is Lilith. She makes an appearance in the book of Isaiah of the Old Testament when she lurks around a desert hamlet inhabited by goats, owls, and jackals. However, her history extends much beyond this to a mysterious being known as Lilitu, a Mesopotamian demon who prowls the night. Her name appears in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is said to be the first written narrative ever. Old earthenware also bears Lilith's name. This bowl is used for incantation. There are demon-trapping prayers. At the side that should be recited openly, a figure that the bowl has ensnared is located in the center. Many people think Lilith is this. M is for Mastema. What better way to commemorate reaching the halfway point of the alphabet than with Mastema, the persecutor demon? Mastema originates from another apocryphal work, the work of Jubilees. The most juicy demonic lore can be found in those forbidden biblical manuscripts. Mastema's mission is to punish people, but oddly, he receives his orders from God, who may or may not be responsible for the plagues that wreak havoc or the torture of innocent people. He resembles a supernatural hitman. Mastema muddies the distinctions between angels and demons. What does this reveal about God then? Not only does he let demons exist, but he actively employs them to execute his retributions. Perhaps demons are not as bad as we thought. N is for Nephilim. The giants of the Nephilim race are demonic. They are described as being so enormous in the Book of Numbers in the Old Testament that humans pale in comparison. The Book of Enoch delves into the origins of the Nephilim, another group that makes an appearance in the Apocrypha. According to the tale, the Nephilim are the cursed progeny of fallen angels and humans who roam the planet, wreaking havoc. They become such a huge problem at 450 feet tall that God decides to destroy them with a massive flood. All right, it was enjoyable while it lasted. There isn't much information available about the Nephilim, which makes them a mysterious group. O is for Ornias. One of the oldest known grimoires, the Testament of Solomon, has the demon Ornias. It was not composed by the biblical King Solomon, despite the name. The fact that the book describes King Solomon's role as a covert demon slayer makes it an odd read. His first task is to deal with Ornias, a typical demon that has been bothering a man by robbing him of his money and depleting his life force. Solomon uses a magical ring to seal Ornias, trapping him. After that, he continues to gather demons. It is the biblical forerunner of the Ghostbusters film series. By the way, the Bible doesn't contain any of King Solomon's demon-busting adventures. This is the pinnacle of biblical fan fiction. P is for Pseudo-Christos. We're back in the New Testament to discuss false messiahs, deception, and lies. The Greek word pseudo-Christos means false messiah. It is not necessary to be an expert in biblical history to understand that Christians only accept Jesus as the Messiah. However, some people make divine claims, and some will trick gullible followers. Like a wolf dressed like a sheep, they are difficult to identify. One of these fake messiahs is actually the Antichrist, who appears in the apocalyptic book of Revelation as a small sheep monster with a few extra horns. It is his responsibility to herald the beast's approach and persuade everyone that, in some way, the creature isn't wicked. Q is for Keteb. Perhaps not, but Keteb, the demon of illness, is back in the Old Testament, depending on how Keteb is translated. He and his brother Deba are mentioned in the book of Psalms. Whether it is Deba, who prowls in the shadows, or Keteb, who wreaks havoc at noon, The poem exhorts readers not to be afraid of these demons. Pestilence is denoted by the Hebrew words deba and keteb, respectively. Hence, you shall not fear pestilence that stalks in the darkness, or plague that destroys at midday, could be a possible translation in place of demons. What if the topic of this poem is illness? What if this is an example of personification, where the concept of a plague is given demonic characteristics in order to foster creativity? R is for Ruach Elohim Ra. Speaking of language, the next demon I've highlighted is called Ruach Elohim Ra in Hebrew, which means an evil spirit of God. God will send a demon to haunt someone in order to exact revenge, as we witnessed with Mastema. This occurs in the Old Testament as well. In one tale, King Saul is driven insane by an evil spirit of God who torments him. This has always baffled people. Does God have to do with evil? He uses devils to carry out his dirty work after all. It's not a comfortable idea. Our favorite conception of God is one of love and harmony. However, God appears to be more dubious morally in early biblical texts. People grew disenchanted with the idea of a vindictive God throughout time. According to the New Testament, individuals attribute wickedness to another person. S is for Satan. The Great One, the devil of demons, is here. Devil. Satan is regarded as the arch-prince of evil in Christianity. For the past 2 millennia, Satan has taken on the form of evil, from a crimson, multi-headed dragon to enticing Jesus in the wilderness. According to early Christian philosophers, Satan himself was represented by the snake in the Garden of Eden tale. If true, he is the cause of all human pain. But Satan was a little less clear-cut before Christianity. The mysterious figure known as Satan, which literally translates as the adversary, appears in the Old Testament book of Job. He is a devil's advocate who contests God's judgment. Nevertheless, since Satan is merely an angel, he doesn't seem to be a nasty man. The term Satan did not originally refer only to angels or demons. People and even entire nations were frequently referred to as Satans. Everybody is a Satan. It appears that by this time, the traditional conception of the devil had not changed. The devil sprouted into his ears. According to the New Testament, T is for Titivilus. Throughout our exploration of biblical demons, typos and mistranslations appear to be the source of them. But who's making these mistakes? Presenting Titivilus, the patron demon of typos and also known as the printer's devil. His area of expertise, errors in the Bible. Consider that the King James Bible must be written by hand, in words, that is 783,137. Errors are certain to occur. Indeed, they frequently did. For example, in 1631, an individual unintentionally deleted a not from one of the 10 Commandments, resulting in the statement, "Thou shalt not commit adultery," being changed to, "Thou shalt commit adultery." It was now okay to cheat on your partner. Obviously, the demon Titivilus was held responsible rather than the clumsy actions of an overworked bookmaker. U is for unclean spirits. The New Testament regularly refers to what it labels ugly spirits as devils. However, how is hygiene related to all of this? It appears that some people believe demons are filthy. It contaminates your spirit if they come into contact with you. This helps to understand the concept of baptism, which involves taking a real bath to rid yourself of your sins and devils. A daily shower, as they say, keeps the devils away. V is for vampire. Yes, the Bible has references to vampires. Okay, just once. The book of Proverbs contains the following quote, "The vampire has 2 daughters. Give, give, they cry." This witty proverb has nothing to do with the realities of being a vampire father. Alternatively, the 2 daughters in issue can refer to 2 ravenous teeth that cry out, "Give, give, cry." Either that or leeches, another ferocious critter with razor-sharp teeth, are mentioned in the passage. Nevertheless, Jewish folktales feature this biblical vampire. The Aluka is a beast that mimics human appearances and feeds only on blood. When in danger, it will change into a terrifying werewolf. Is a vampire considered a demon? I guess it depends on how literal you want to make the definition of evil spirit. W is for witches. Witches, then vampires. Many prohibitions against witchcraft and divination can be found in the Bible, such as, "Thou shalt not allow a witch to live." The witch hunts in Europe and the Americas were encouraged by these biblical prohibitions against magic. People were afraid that witches were among them and that they were working with demons. There would even be professional witch hunters who would go around accusing people, mostly older ladies, of practicing sorcery. The laws of the Bible were highly important to these hunters. The penalty for practicing witchcraft? Demise. X is for Zezbeth. One of the few demons that starts with the letter X is Zezbeth. Zezbeth comes from Hell's dictionary, also known as the Dictionnaire Infernal, which is a small list of French demons. This one doesn't have a lot of information, which is probably for the best. The demon of dishonesty and lying is called Zezbeth. Zezbeth is the one responsible, whether it's a simple white lie or a major tax scam. Nobody is aware of this demon's beginnings. The Arabic name for this demon in Islam is al-Kadab, which means the liar. However, that is essentially it. Zezbeth, Kadab. Perhaps there is some connection between those names, or perhaps this is all fiction. Y is for Yam. Yam time, but not for the meal. Yam, the sea god of Mesopotamia, is mentioned in a number of old creation tales. These tales take the shape of a massive conflict between a valiant deity and Yam, together with his enormous pet sea snake. For the Babylonians, it was Marduk versus Tiamat. For the ancient Hebrews, it was God, or El, against Leviathan. When Yam's sea beast is defeated, the deity uses its body parts to build the earth. These tales are referred to by German researchers as Chaos Kampf, or the primeval struggle. I can't help but feel bad for Yam since, as is often accepted today, life originated in the ocean. He doesn't receive the respect he deserves. Z is for Zedek. Lastly, the letter I'm doomed to pronounce as Z, not Z. We have discussed demons extensively, but not the angels assigned to deal with the more troublesome demons. Enter Zedek, the angel of righteousness, also known as Melchizedek. His greatest moment occurs during the conflict between the sons of light and the sons of darkness in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Zadok vanquishes the monster Belial in this titanic conflict. When he arrives, the world is filled with love, happiness, and truth. Zedek completes our alphabet of biblical demons. He is a righteous celestial force. That's the AZ of biblical demons.